What's up YouTube? Today I'm going to show you how to swap your W205 dash cluster from an analog to a digital. So to start off, this vid mostly applies to post 2019 W205 Mercedes. So the tools you'll need will be a Mercedes digital cluster, a cluster trim cover, a wiring harness, a nylon trim removal tool, a Torx 15 screwdriver, and a Windows computer with MB Tool software, as well as a Tactrix OpenPort 2.0. You can also pick up an 18-pin terminal housing kit for Mercedes and a micro pin removal tool. Okay, so once you got all your parts and tools, you want to start off by using your nylon trim removal kit to pry off the plastic trimming behind the steering wheel. Be gentle with it. It's plastic, it will break. It works best to pry one side and work your way down, then pry the other side and work your way down. So once the plastic trim is out the way, you'll have two Torx 15 screws at the bottom of the cluster, left and right. Loosen those, but make sure they don't fall out of place. Gently pull the cluster out using the outer rim, but be mindful of the wiring harness still hooked up in the rear. And to disconnect the wiring harness, you want to push down on the white tab at the top and pull the gray slider across. Now it's going to get a little tricky. Now you got to get this unit out right here. There's a technique to it to make it simple, though it's hard to do with one hand. Pull it out some, tilt it upwards like that, and try to miss these turn stocks and the windshield wiper controller right there. And try to turn it like this, and at the same time pull outwards like that. And then turn it up like that, and it's free. Unfortunately, with these, they will not fit the adapter for a digital cluster, so you will have to replace this harness, but that's fairly easy to do. This is the best way I can show it with one hand. Take your flathead, push up against it so it clears that piece, that black piece that's sticking out right there, and then you want to pull it up on the connector, and the shell should come free. And once it's off, we'll replace it with the other shell so it'll fit the adapter. Make sure that aftermarket shell fits your current adapter. In the event that this shell does not fit, or you cannot order the shell, you can also just plug the connector without a shell cover into this end of the adapter. You just have to make sure to line the pins up. Here you go. Should be able to push it in place. Make sure it's locked in position, and then you'll be able to move on to the next step, which is plugging up the adapter. With our aftermarket shell on and our adapter, you want to take this in. Make sure your shell is in the completely unlocked position, and you should just be able to push it into place, and that will pass the tab on the top. There it goes. Our aftermarket connector fit into our adapter perfectly. So now we got to bring over the digital cluster and plug it in. We got our harness connected into our new cluster. Now it's time to get it in. Try to sort of pack the wire back there so it's out the way of where the cluster will sit, so you won't have any issues when it comes to tighten it down and making sure it's secure. After you hook this connector up, open your door to make sure it boots up. Your car's electronics operate normally and you have no canvas problems, because sometimes with these aftermarket connectors, they might use the wrong wires. So yeah, ran into an issue. One of these adapters had canvas issues while the other has worked perfectly fine for 2 weeks. This adapter right here, while the male end does fit into the cluster, it caused canvas problems with the radio. That's something to look out for. This one, on the other hand, operated normally. Couldn't tell you if it's due to the different types of colored wires used or what, but this one right here gave me canvas issues. The only issue with this one is it did not initially fit the head unit correctly, so I had to sand it down. Not at all ideal. Now we have our cluster. Getting this in can be a little tricky, but ideally you want to take it in at an angle, sort of tilt it like this, get it behind the steering wheel. Slowly move it up like this. As I said earlier, you want to just take it in sort of flat and slowly tilt it straight upwards as you push it further back. And while you're doing it, make sure the harness is out of the way and tucked in the back so it doesn't interfere with the cluster sitting. And once it's plugged up, you just want to check and make sure that it's operational. This has already been versionized and programmed, so it's showing my mileage correctly. But one quick way, don't turn the car on. You just open the door and the unit should power up. Depending upon which unit you got, it might show a different car than yours. Don't panic though. My experience, it showed like a E-Class wagon at first. It made like almost like a siren noise, but eventually it went away. They're starting the car and now it's showing the exact chassis that I have, which is a C205. Cluster is operational, it's plugged up, it works. 2 T15 screw holes are clear and it's mounted correctly. It's firm, it's not going anywhere. So now you want to put the binnacle on. So to get the binnacle in, you kind of have to maneuver it similar to the analog cluster. It's so hard to show you guys because I only got one hand right now. But you just take it in at an angle like this, around like that, and then clear, and then make sure the 2 T15 bolts line up with the screw hole, and make sure they slide in place. It should be 2 mounting points at the top that these will have to slide on top of. Make sure that all 4 points match up so this won't rattle or fall out. Technique to get the binnacle in is to pull it out just a little bit and lift up on it and push it straight in. Probably that much. Lift straight up on both sides and push it in. And you should hear it slide in position. And then after that, you'll tighten up your 2 T15s and then we can move on to programming it. So now you want to take your open port and plug it into your OBD2 port. And what you need for this step is a computer that runs Windows 10 off the disk, the hard disk. Parallels will not work. I've tried that before. I had no luck. I could run the MB2 software, however, it would not communicate with the open port 2. So it has to be a Windows 10 computer running off the hard disk. And so now with your Windows computer on and your open port 2.0 plugged up and you're connected to the internet, you want to open up MB Tools. And so now, if you haven't already, you'll have to install the software as well as install the VCI drivers. And once it's all done, you should be able to launch MB Tools. You click yes. You log in. Once you're logged in, you should be able to look in the corner and see where it shows the OpenPort 2.0 is plugged up and it's communicating with the computer. So let's check the logs down there. So now it's going to identify the vehicle. This will take a few seconds. Now it's open. You're going to connect to the ECU. Give it a second. And once it's connected, you should be able to click down on common routines and free codings. And you have all these different sort of codes you can put in. My advice is you run one of these codes to test and ensure that MB2 software is compatible with your vehicle before you pay the one-time $130 activation fee for versionizing the cluster. Go to your browser, go to mbtools.com and log in. Hit getting started, type in your VIN, scroll down to cluster synchronization and pay the $130 fee. And so once you logged in, you've launched MB Tools, you'll connect to the ECU again, give it its time, and both the Versionize and Teach In should be available. You'll hit Versionize first, you'll wipe the cluster, make it as if it was brand new, so it'll clear off all the old information. And they'll allow you to teach it in, and that will upload the car's information into the cluster. And if all things go correct, you should be able to see your mileage. And once you've done that, then cluster is installed.